Whether you're looking to get inspired or just curious about life at Havas, tune in to discover the stories behind the work, the people, and the passion driving us forward. Welcome to Debrief, where the Havas India family comes alive. I'm your host Pritha, and today we are joined by Rana Barua, Group CEO of Havas India, Southeast Asia and North Asia, as we continue part 2 of our conversation on the transformations Rana envisions for the ad industry, his stance on policymaking, how Rana handles big life transitions, and what advice he would give to his younger self. Welcome back to the second part of our conversation with Rana Barua, where we will explore his passion for making a difference to the industry at large. Hi Rana, how are you?
Absolutely fine. Good to see you again.
So let's just dive straight in. As you've grown in your career, you've increasingly been in the spotlight as a strong voice for positive change in the industry. You're actively involved in many industry bodies, most prominent of them being the president of the Advertising Club. What are some of the changes you want to see in the industry?
No, so I'll just try and give you a reason why I play a role so that people understand. It's not because there are many people think that, you want to take a certain profile outside your job profile because of power or trying to generally throw your weight around. I don't think many of us think like that anymore. I wanted to play an active role more because I wanted to give back to the industry. Like any other field, I think, I love what I do. I love my job. I love this profession. It's built me what I am today. So I think if people like us and many seniors I've seen in my career when we were growing up, if you don't give time to this industry, then how will this industry benefit? So I think that's one of the key reasons why I ensure that I take out time both as president at Club or vice president of 3 Years of I, which are the two key bodies where I play a very active role. Though I'm part of the other associations like IA, I also play a role in IFKI. I'm hoping to get associated with some more other associations soon because I think it's important that your voice is heard. You play a role where you can make a difference. I think to answer your question now, I think the reason why these things help is because a lot of us are actually creating the entire governance. And if we don't play a role in acting governance, then you are going to have a lot of issues and challenges. So it's not an easy job to be working with an ad club or 3 Years of I. Remember, these are pro bono. We are doing it for free. It's not because one is getting a kick. It's because we need to do it. It's accountability, it's responsibility. So it is important. And then we go with, to answer what changes and all. I don't think we are looking at dramatic changes or something. We just want to make it better. We want to make things better. We want to make it more progressive. We want to stay ahead with times. We want to know what's happening globally. We want to have the best practices in India. So it's about keeping the momentum going and ensuring that the business is doing well. And there is a conversation point where people can celebrate. So in that club, there is more celebration of awards and wins and creativity and media awards. Decode, which is more about celebration and awards. 3 Years of Eyes is more about governance and how to manage associations, manage media clients, manage client issues. So I think both work hand in glove in a very, very mutually, both keep helping each other a lot.
Now, your interest in policies and policy making is something you've been very vocal about. Are there any particular changes or issues close to your heart in the way things are run that you're proud to be part of, or things that you want to change?
We've been part of many, so I wouldn't highlight that I've been part of a particular one or something in anything. So, there are many changes that have happened over the last few years. So you will probably be aware that, I've been part of both the bodies, so 3 Years of I and Ad Club. So naturally, the point is that if I highlight an Ad Club thing and say that, okay, we brought in a one show, or if I say that we've done something in the digital awards, it will be saying that I've done it. It's not like it's always a much wider and a larger senior team which works across both the associations where everything is discussed and then decisions are made. And then you execute it. So I think a lot of changes that you're seeing in the last few years, you can say that we've been playing a very important role, and I've naturally been part of both the associations, and I'm quite proud of some decisions that we've taken going forward. Of course, everything may not have happened overnight. It takes time, but I can see a great momentum that is helping all of us.
Another topic that our industry is constantly frazzled about is talent. Talent drain, talent attraction, talent retention, talent revitalization. The conversation never stops. What is your take on it?
I don't know why we have stereotypically attached it to the advertising industry. I think talent drain is everywhere, or a talent movement is happening everywhere. So, any industry, if I look at all my clients, I think they're saying the same thing. If you ask all your partners or everybody's facing the same thing. I don't think that's the reason. I think we must be very clear about the fact it's not money also. It's about independence and individual people who are all become free. So it's all about a lot of freedom. So if you ask a lot of people around, people have started taking decisions much earlier, which is not literally copybook. That I want to be an X and I want to do a postgrad and I want to work. There are people who are starting restaurants, there are people who are writing books, there are people who are script writers, there are people who are going into the hills, there are people who started creating their own things, there are people who don't want to work, they want to just travel. So I think a lot of this is naturally impacting everything. What we need to be wary about is that whatever people you have or whatever organizations have as talent, we must learn how to preserve them and mold them and see what we can build and keep attracting newer talent. But talent drain and all these conversations for me means I actually don't participate in these conversations. Whenever I hear that, I just look at the people and because I don't personally feel any talent in any way. Because it's like you go to a hotel, go to a restaurant and ask the restaurant manager or a hotel manager, how's the talent been? I'm sure you're going to say, oh my God, this restaurant service has completely changed from when I came last time. Then you ask the restaurant manager, what happened? Why was it? He'll say a lot of people have left. And what? So is it talent drain? No, it's just that it's a churn. Come on. Everywhere is the same problem. We just need to move on. But I don't know why we keep discussing it more in the advertising industry, that there is a massive talent drain. Nobody wants to join advertising and all. I don't know where this story is. Who started it? When did it start? I don't think it will end. Unless we just ignore it, probably it will die on its own.
Okay, moving on. As an advertising network, we keep discussing the Gen Z in the context of brand building. But as an industry leader, how are we adapting to welcome Gen Z into the workforce?
I think that answers your earlier question also. It's them who are going to change this industry. And that's what they're doing across most industries. So it's going to be a balance between them and the balance between seasoned professionals like us. Because I feel there will be a void in between. So it's the Gen Zs or what you call them as the young people who are going to probably disrupt this industry or many other industries. And they are more than welcome to come because it's a business of ideas, it's a business of creativity. And of course, they'll flourish because if they come, they do it their way, they do it in a different way because a lot of rigidity is gone. It's become more flexible. Our work styles have become more open. We've become very open about work from home. We are okay about many other things in work style and the way we work. So I think things have changed for them also. And they realize that if you have a fun place to work, and if you create an engaging place to work, that's what we are trying, at least that's what Havas is known for. If we try to make our work culture, our work styles far more flexible, then people are going to last. They're going to enjoy this space.
What is one thing about your journey so far that you didn't expect?
It's been a long journey, right? So I think something that made me leave this industry and go to radio was that when I realized that we used to work as all together, something that sparked of the 270 idea, it's all linked to that, was that we were all integrated as a network everywhere we used to work, or all people used to sit under the same roof.
Yes.
There was nothing as different things. You remember the job which I used to work with before I left this industry and went to radio had all people working together, creative,
yes, the
media,
integration model.
PR, activation, events, social. There was nothing. We didn't know any other way of working. Means if you went for a client pitch or a presentation or an idea, everybody went. And a presentation would have 100 slides, which meant there were 6 or 7 people presenting and everything was together. And then one fine day we were all told we were all breaking into different paths and everybody was going into different places. And I was like saying, this is not why I'm here. Because why should I become just a creative agency person? What about my PR partner? What about my events partner? What about this? So if you understand what happened then is that when I went to radio, I could bring everything back. I was head of marketing, I had everybody working for me. A single idea would go across every single form of activation, media, television, everything you could do, everything. And I thought that's it. I'm not going to come back to advertising. So in my journey, if you say what I never thought would happen, was what we call it in Havas was a village model. And that slowly I started, when I came back, I realized there is an opportunity. Because I was in radio for around 7 years. And I came back saying that if I come back to advertising, I'm going to work towards an integrated model, which seemed very, very like a distant dream in those 7 years. Because for me, if you ask me, Is this the best way of working? It is. Everywhere, it is now becoming an integrated way of working. It's shocking that we had broken this entire agency model. And if you look at what Havas did, and that's what Yannick did around, if I'm not mistaken, 2013 or 14, he brought the village model. And everybody looked at him and said, what's the village? Basically meant everybody working together. And that's why, for me, that's been the biggest comeback has been, the integration model. It's a big, big differentiator.
Okay. Now, as you know, no conversation is complete without the mention of AI. Are you expecting a question on AI?
Absolutely.
Okay, but we are not going to ask what you are traditionally used to answering. What do you use AI for?
It's very boring stuff, to be honest. It's like sometimes, when you want to do a search or when you want to write something quickly or you want to generally figure out something, which is the easiest things to do, and you're feeling absolutely lazy, I use AI, because AI naturally, I've realized, is apart from being used for really, really, really good stuff or for really, really important things and all, it's also kind of circumvents a lot of energies that can get burned trying to do this. So I use it more for more casual processes, because in my life, I don't think as of now it's playing a very important role. Of course, in the overall business, it's become very important, plays a very important role. But for me, it's more for quick ones or something very casual.
Now, we want to explore a little human side of your personality. Your younger son is moving abroad to pursue higher education very soon. And we recently had a chat on the empty nest syndrome. How are you preparing yourself for it?
So I have my elder son still with me, so he refused to leave the nest. We've tried many, many ways to explain to him that there is a better world out there, but I think he prefers the nest because, he relies a lot on my wife and me. No, so for me, naturally, we've never experienced it. So I won't be able to say that what I will go through. Of course, we'll miss the younger one not being around. But I was just explaining to somebody in the morning, and then I said, if you look at your life, and people say that you need to reinvent yourself. These are such heavy words, right? But how do you reinvent yourself? So I think I see it as a reinvention of this whole journey. Why? Because I know that my wife Shavan and I will again reinvent about how to live life. It'll be reinvention of life with the younger one, with the elder one. So I'm quite excited about it because already there are many plans that are being created about travel, about when we will meet, what kind of things that we want to do. So it's again suddenly re-engaging and reinvention. Now that's exciting because if you see it from the other side, then it's very depressing that somebody is leaving your house. But if you see it from a positive side, it suddenly changes the flip. So I'm hoping that we can make that happen.
I'm very happy that you spoke so candidly about it because this is a question that's mostly asked to women. Thank you for breaking the stereotype.
Thank you.
And I have one last question for you. What would you advise the fresh-faced circa 1995 Rana as he begins his journey in Adland as an account executive?
I will advise him nothing. I'll just say, just be you. Just be what you were. I have a small little story which I'm not supposed to tell you.
Please do.
In 95, I stood on Marine Drive and with few of my friends who friends are still around. And I looked at all the buildings and said that one day I want to be there. One day I want to sit on the top of that building. It's like a movie story people keep saying and all. I was a dreamer. I'm still a dreamer. But I was a dreamer and a dreamer who always had certain plans about what to do. So I would still tell that same guy, keep dreaming. If you don't dream, then you're not going to make things happen.
So you've evidently manifested all the great things in your life. You've worked very hard towards it. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Yes, thank you very much. But I think one last thing which I wanted to just leave as a thought for every conversation is that there are two other things that I always say that, which we must keep in mind. And which, because you brought up my younger son's story, and I can just tell you that as a story, is that one is hard work. There's no replacement to hard work. No matter what you say, there's no replacement to hard work. You have to be very, very, very diligent about. And second is, there's no shortcuts. You have to go through the drill. You may fail, you may have challenges, I know, but there is no shortcut to anything. So I think those two things I managed to overcome, and hopefully there will be many more years of success for Havas and all of us working together. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
All the best for the journey ahead and thank you so much.
Thank you.
And with that, we wrap up the launch episodes of Debrief Part 1 and Part 2 of our conversation with Rana Barua. Thank you for listening in. We will be back with more meaningful conversations exciting new episodes, and highlights of life at Havas. Until next time, let's keep the spirit of creativity and collaboration alive. See you soon.